And also, of course, I have JP Live. And also, I have Olive Monica Najuma, because we still haven't found her a name. That is, if she actually wants us to find her a name. For the Friday show in particular, welcome aboard. And we're going all the way till the hour of 9 a.m. A lot of entertainment, a lot of good conversations just to usher you into the weekend. So please join us. Let's see what today holds. But if you are planning on stepping out, please do carry something warm because it's chilly outside. It's actually been raining crazy in some areas. So please make sure you are warm. Take some tea and some coffee, just like Robert is doing right now. And you avoid some decisions. I had someone say they might go on a date they hadn't prepared for. Please do not. Please do not. Well, let's see what the team has lined up for today, and of course checking in how the week has been and what stories were the highlight for this week for them. And I'm going to start with my immediate left. Robert, good morning.
A lovely morning to you.
How are you?
Friday-ish.
Do I?
Yeah.
I don't feel the Friday, but I'm yet to feel it.
You like to feel it?
I'm yet to feel it.
Okay, well.
The producer was mean with the music that was being played.
Am I taking you to Ginger? Am I taking you to Ginger?
Okay. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
I thought I'm going with you to Ginger.
No, thank you, sir.
Okay, well, at least I know I'll continue extending.
You'll keep trying.
I'll keep trying.
There's something that I usually said the weekend of Nigga that wife materials are in Kampala and the non-wife materials have all gone to Ginger. Maybe Chantal is in Kwetega.
If you know what I'm saying.
Certain things, when you're dealing with our opposite sex, yes, at the first time is a disappointment. Of course, it is a no, but later, yes, may come.
No, now, that was during your era, Chirabo.
But one important thing, I want to first start by welcoming the first-time vacists, Primary 7. They are done with their papers, now they are in VAC for the first time. But just a word of advice. Please, the world is not as kind as you think. So if you're out there, you're Primary 7, that's your first VAC, remember, good things are ahead. The world is not as kind as you think, and ensure you're not taken or exploited. You're still young. Don't feel so mature because now you're back. No, there's so much up for you. And to me, one of the stories that I've made this week is the way UNEP this time round has been able to net a number of people who are trying to engage here in malpractice. I think on record, this time around they have done so much. And we just hope that we won't see then when the results are back, they have held results of certain students. I find that very heartening. You know, this young pupil or student whose results don't come back. But other than that, well, PLE was done and dusted, and now parents, these kids are not mature. Be around them. The world is not as kind as you.
Great, that is Uncle Bob, and of course to the vacists. You're very welcome. Let's see what Olive Monica Najuma feels like this morning, and of course the story that stood out for her during the course of the week.
Well, good morning, Chantal.
Good morning, Olive. How are you feeling?
I'm nice and lovely.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And I'd like to actually tell Chirabo something. When he said that with women, you start with a no, but then it can turn into a yes. No is a complete sentence.
Since when?
Since when we started telling you guys to seek consent. Every time, even midway. But
hold on a minute. Even midway?
Yes.
Oh,
continue.
It can be revoked, and you have to respect the consent or the revocation. No. That is how some men get themselves in trouble because they think not in Africa. When someone says no, believe them because you may bring yourself trouble. But good morning, dear viewers. Today is Friday, and like always, yesterday, I promised you a scintillating show, scintillating conversations, and here we are today. We have so much lined up for you, and we are glad that you're here with us. And to add to what Chirabo said, I congratulate the parents whose children sat P7 on Wednesday and yesterday. Some of them are picking them from school today, others picked them already yesterday. But a word of advice, again, adding to Chirabo's voice, is that parents, you need to to safeguard your children, please do not let them become a statistic of, especially the girl children, don't let them become a statistic of those that get pregnant during vacation. So you have a role to play. We know you're busy, you're trying to make ends meet, but create time to speak to your children, create time to talk to them about pregnancy, about HIV, because like we shared yesterday, the numbers are going up and they are most prevalent among young females.
Great, and well, to our dear parents, it's just the beginning, because these kids are actually entering one of the most dangerous stages, and or some of the most dangerous stages, and that's the part where they are needed the most, because the guidance is really important. These kids are more inquisitive, and these kids grow up so fast. So
that's true.
Yeah. So this is the time when parents need
and
to
there are
actually be
so
available.
many pressures, many things pulling
Yes.
them left,
Social
right, and
media,
center. Yeah.
They want to also exercise or practice
What they
they're saying.
see,
Now,
yes.
the parent
Curiosity.
you're absent for guidance. There is a
That's very
parent
troublesome.
called social media, a parent called the next friend there, or a parent.
So that's why parents actually need to be very, very involved. To the man JP Live, today he has very nice shoes. Okay, not only today, but
Oh,
yes.
wow. You know, the English language is very complicated.
I could say something that sounds really wrong
Yeah.
to imply something else. But Sonko, you're wearing very nice shoes this morning.
Thank you very much.
It's
And
How
how
are
are
you
you?
doing, Chantal?
I'm very well. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay. I should say I'm feeling cold
Oh dear.
because of how I've arrived here. But it's actually good that we're here to inspire the Ugandans. So when I look back at the events that have actually led to my day at office this morning, or let's say that have actually led to my journey at office this morning, these are things I will tell my grandchildren about my experiences in Kampala. But well, besides that, this has been a very, very slow-paced week in regards to certain things here and there. And what obviously caught my attention earlier this week was a terror threat, information that was actually released, or report, where the UK and the US were actually warning. It was actually a terror threat warning, where the UK and the US were warning their tourists or their citizens not to attend the Nyege Nyege festival. Now, on a good note, yesterday, while that is the Right Honourable Rebecca Kadaga was officially opening the Nyege Nyege festival of this particular year, she did reveal and also emphasize the fact that President Museveni assured the revelers that there is tight security. And the details that are coming up from Jinja reveal that there are a lot of checkpoints at the festival or at the venue. So those who are actually going over to Jinja should be assured of the security, the checkpoints. There is a lot of security personnel deployed at the event. So it's something that we can look at as well. Also, looking back at the fact that the P7 students, rather candidates, were sitting their examinations, one thing that also caught my attention is the fact that the delay in writing the exams was due to flooding and poor roads as well. Those are some of the key things that were cited in there. So you can easily see that once we are talking about the poor roads in Kampala, it is not only here, but elsewhere
Even in
across
other
the
areas,
country.
yes. Well, hopefully, having seen some of these challenges that prevailed, maybe next time we'll be better prepared to make sure that we get to start on time and the disorganization is stopped or minimized. Well, at this moment, we'll be taking a look at what is happening in the country locally.
And we'll begin with President Yoweri Museveni on investors. Now, President Yoweri Museveni has committed to creation of seed capital to local investors. While officiating at the 3rd National Science Week at Kolo Ceremonial Grounds, President directed Uganda Revenue Authority to exempt tax on innovations and startups. Upon realizing the infantry collapse of businesses, President Museveni committed to create a seed funding innovation with proper feasibility arguments. President was officiating at the National Science Week. Museveni decried tax imposed on innovations and startups at the infantry as they discouraged the would-be potential investors and entrepreneurs. The Minister for Science, Technology and Innovations, Monica Mosonero, appealed for presidential support towards science and technology in the country.
Now, focusing on refugees in Uganda, the Prime Minister, Robina Nabanja, has emphasized the need for coordination of humanitarian and development interventions in the country to serve refugees better. The Prime Minister made the remarks this morning while the Prime Minister made the remarks yesterday while presiding over the pre-Global Refugee Forum Conference at Speak Resort, Munyonyo. Nabanja says that Uganda being the biggest refugee hosting country in Africa, there is a need for all the partners to work as a team with government to serve humanity. The Premier says that such engagements help in streamlining service to humanity and also ensure sustainability of the refugee interventions. Nabanja lauded the development partners for the effort to supporting the country to host refugees.
And now over to Parliament. Mityana Municipality Legislator Francis Zake, together with his lawyer Elias Lukwago and Marvin Sass, have once again appeared before the Rules, Discipline and Privileges Committee of Parliament on two separate cases of indiscipline. However, the committee chair, Abdul Katuntu, was forced to adjourn the meeting after Zake and his team refused to admit whether it was him in the video showing vulgar attacks on MP Chinyamatama and Javira.
And lastly, on the local scene, government has released a development budget of 78 billion shillings to Kampala Capital City Authority for the city's development. Dorothy Chisaka, the Executive Director of Kampala Capital City Authority, disclosed this in her interaction with the media at Hotel Africana. Kampala is to host the Non-Allied Movement Summit scheduled for January 2024 with 120 countries in attendance. In preparation for this summit, the Executive Director, KCCA, Dorothy Chisaka, revealed that KCCA has established a task force to focus on various aspects necessary for the city's readiness, including the rehabilitation of roads. This initiative will involve the improvement of 15 kilometers of roads funded by the allocated 78 billion that has been released as a development budget to KCCA. She further highlighted KCCA's collaboration with the UPDF to address the numerous potholes pursuing Kampala's roads. With the released budget of 78 billion, the authority is expected to rehabilitate over 10 roads as well as manage other developments in the city, including the drainage issue.
Well, thank you so much for those for the local stories. Now, coming up is the international stories, and we are crossing over straight to Israel. Now, Israel's Prime Minister says the country is not seeking to conquer, occupy, or govern the Gaza Strip after its war with Hamas ends. Benjamin Netanyahu told U.S. television outlet Fox News that a credible force would be needed to enter the enclave if necessary to prevent the emergence of militant threats. We don't seek to conquer Gaza, we don't seek to occupy Gaza, and we don't seek to govern Gaza, he said, adding that a civilian government would be required, but that Israel would also need to ensure that an attack like that of 7th October, in which Hamas killed about 1,400 people, does not happen again. So we have to have a credible force that, if necessary, will enter Gaza and kill the killers, because that's what will prevent the re-emergence of a Hamas-like entity, he said. Netanyahu's comments earlier this week had suggested Israel would be responsible for security in Gaza, drawing a critical response from the U.S. Now, U.S. veteran gets world's first eye transplant. Surgeons in New York say they have performed the world's first complete eye transplant on a man, although it is not certain he will regain vision. Aaron James, who survived a high-voltage electrical accident, underwent 21 hours of surgery that replaced half of his face. Surgeons have been able to transplant corneas successfully for years, Experts have called the breakthrough a pivotal moment in the quest to restore sight to millions of people. Mr. James, a high-voltage utility line worker at Arkansas, has, lost most of his face when it accidentally touched a 7,200-volt live wire in 2021. On May 27th this year, he underwent a rare partial face transplant in addition to the eye transplant, which involved more than 140 healthcare professionals. And back to Africa, after a lengthy investigation, French judges decided on Monday, 6th November, that they had enough evidence to charge and prosecute former Congolese militia leader Roger Lumbala. He led the RCDN armed group during the Second Congo War. He will stand trial for complicity in crimes against humanity committed in Ituri and North Kivu in 2002 and 2003. This indictment comes after almost 3 years of investigation, during which victims supported by NGOs were able to testify despite the state of siege and restrictions imposed by COVID. 20 years after the trauma, victims have left their villages to travel to France and tell investigators about the executions, rapes, and looting they experienced during the murderous Erase the Board campaign. This was an operation carried out at the end of 2002 and the beginning of 2003. In the final months of the Second Congo War, by the armed group RCDN and its allies, including the MLC, to take control of territories in the east of the DRC. Now, speaking matters climate, concerns about climate change are putting many people off the idea of having children, a review has found. Research published in the journal PLOS Climate, involving nearly 11,000 people, has revealed worries over uncertainty about the future of an unborn child, being able to provide for them, as well as concerns that having children would contribute to overpopulation and overconsumption. Political sentiment such as refusal to have children until systematic change was enacted. Political sentiment such as refusal to have children until systematic change was enacted was also reported to be a motivating factor. Leader author Hope Dillerstone, a former student at the UCL Institute for Global Health, said recent media attention has been paid to a growing number of individuals factoring their concerns about climate change into their child-bearing plans. Well, that is it for climate news, and also what is happening across different parts of the country in the world. And coming up is Jerome Paul Sonko with the press review for today.
And with our local dailies, the New Vision with the headlines, I am sorry. Minister Mary Goreti Chitutu apologizes to President Museveni. Why? Read about that in the New Vision today. Then President Museveni okays 500 billion Ugandan shillings funding to science and technology. Pictorial of President Museveni and the First Lady at the that is at the Science Week. Then also what Basoga expect from Inavantu. Read about that in the New Vision. Then in the other series, battles that defined Kakungulu. Read about that in the New Vision. Still at the front page of the New Vision, 2024 NAM Summit, KCC gets 78 billion Ugandan shillings for facelift. And besides that, the Uganda Muslim Supreme Council appoints new Secretary General. Read about that and more in the New Vision. And in the perspective of hygiene, landlords, tenants remanded over filth. That and more in the New Vision. Now, also checking out what is at the front page of the Daily Monitor, Ugandans contracting HIV for fun, according to doctors. Read about that. Then the Science Week, President Museveni approves tax holiday and 500 billion shillings for innovations in Uganda. Then in the Scoop magazine, Nyege Nyege, let the spirit take over. Read about that in the Daily Monitor. Now, Protestants eating most in government, according to a new report. Then in the other news, Kenya declines Uganda's request to use oil pipeline as Uganda is set to be removed from finance grey list. And that and more is what the Daily Monitor is highlighting for you on Friday.
Right, thank you so much, Jerome Paul. Well, we can't go further than that. Let's get into a very short break and we'll be right back.
Pick of the day on UBC.
One-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
A weekly face-to-face conversation focusing on accountability, inspiration, information, and sensitization of the public from the various sources, such as inspirational profiles.
Having a disability is not inability.
Every Friday 9 p.m., it's one-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
Don't you see anywhere that you would give a credit in the fight against COVID?
My role as the owner of the country is not to, be preoccupied by giving credit to my servant.
We have said that if we are to talk to General Museveni, there must be certain conditions in place.
Is it true that you paid 5 million shillings to MPs that voted for?
Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
Junko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Junko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are,
but you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief, and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government, designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
So this is my general perception. One, that this project entered in strategic areas of government, but that it has created a base for the now last mile strategy, which is the parish development model. And therefore this base that it has left will help us actually, and I'm sure we'll get better results in a Chole area and Ajumani when we are implementing the parish development model.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Good morning once again. Just joining us. This is UBC. Good morning, Uganda Friday special, and we get to have conversations that are a little toned down. Every Friday we get to have more of entertainment, but of course, keeping it inspiring for you every single day, Monday to Friday, and you are doing great by staying with us. Now, this very morning, we're going to be having a conversation with Andrew Onen. If this name sounds familiar, then you know what I'm talking about. We're going to be speaking matters comedy, and we are very glad that he could get to spare some time off his busy schedule to be with us this morning. And the conversation majorly is going to be centered on the perspective and the view that comedy has, especially in the public eye. And so we're calling upon you to be part of this conversation this morning. Let us know what you think. Of course, I'll be asking questions like, if your child decided to join comedy, would you really recommend them to, to join comedy, and the implications and all that? We're going to be discussing what your perspective on the view that comedy is an unserious, vocation. It's been regarded as that for a very long time. Now, with me on set is Jerome Paul Sonko, call him JP Live, also Olive Monica Najuma, and of course Andrew Nen, and that's the discussion we're going to be having. But first, good morning, Andrew.
Good morning.
How are you feeling this Friday morning? It's a bit chilly outside.
Yeah, absolutely.
But how are you feeling?
Okay, very okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And today's discussion majorly is going to be centered on the perspective and the view that comedy carries in the society. First, maybe if you don't mind sharing, what has been the most, how can I call it? What has been the most engaging or frustrating perspective someone has had of you, especially when you tell them that you're a comedian?
Okay, first of all, maybe let me reintroduce myself more. My name is Andrew Onen. For some of you, maybe who have been following me on YouTube, some of you who have been coming for my shows. I'm a telecommunications engineer by profession, so I did serious things before joining this. In fact, I was...
What's with engineers and comedy? Because there was Salvador.
Salvador also did telecommunications engineering. In fact, my last industrial training I did here at UBC Engineering Department in 2013. So people take comedians to be unserious people, yet we are very serious. Because to make someone laugh is not an easy thing. It means you have to play with their mind.
Right, right.
Yeah. Like, I am a family man. I have 3 children. About 2 weeks ago, I was in Nairobi for a show. So this guy asked me, "Hey, you mean you have kids and you are doing comedy?" I said, "Yes, I'm doing comedy." In fact, that's the reason why I'm doing comedy, because at least I have an audience to start from. Yeah.
Oh, so your family.
Yes. If I put up a show, they will be there. So comedy, that's people's perspective. This is something which is unserious, but we come to address issues in the society. We come to address issues in the community, because when something is brought with humor, someone will feel like, okay, I think
it's a lot lighter.
Yeah, it's a lot lighter. Yeah. In fact, I feel like the organizations or the government should engage comedians more to pass certain information, certain messages to the public. Yeah.
Right. Jerome Paul, my question to you would be, if you woke up one morning and your child told you they want to be a comedian, what would be the first thing that comes to your mind?
First off, it depends on which kind of comedy they're choosing. And the kind of generation we are into now, stand-up comedy is now up there. Even content creation kind of comedy. So comedy has really changed today. If it was back in the day where comedians were known as D-cooler, sorry to use that word, but it was how we were perceiving the entire industry, I think I would have second thoughts. But the fact that I've seen how, Ugandan comedians, I've seen comedians globally have changed the entire narrative, it is something that I would push someone into, and I would actually be very happy and also push them with all of my energy and all my resources. Why? Because first of all, it stems with passion, and it also goes back to how someone can handle themselves while bringing out these jokes. Because regardless of what we are going through, you really need to, to have some sense of humor here and there. And if you're a father of a comedian, you would be happy that such situations are happening for you. So I would support them currently, and this is simply because of the fact that we are into a new era where talent has actually changed, where we are appreciating talent due to the fact that people are putting in a lot of effort to change everything. Now, when you look at a case in point, what Andrew was saying, he's someone who did engineering. You could actually imagine if that was in the case, let's say back in the time. I don't know how his parents or guardians reacted to him choosing this side of a career, but I want to believe it was, if it was not in this kind of generation, it would be very difficult to convince if the parent was the parents of the early 1990s and the like, because during such a time, people would actually get more of, parents were more proud of their children if they chose the kind of white-collar jobs that were available at the moment. But as of now, I think comedy has really changed. Besides the money part of it, that it's generating money, but seeing someone doing something out of passion, it is very, very encouraging.
I'm now going to cross over to Olive. Imagine you've paid tuition for the last how many years, and your child graduates law school, for example, and one moment he or she wakes up in the morning and tells you, "Mommy, you know what? Today I have made my decision. I'm going to start doing comedy." Please note, there could be some of these professions that we look at because of what they do or the reputation they add on to the family. For example, if you have a lawyer in the family, that is usually, as African parents, something to brag about. Oh, my child is a lawyer. Oh, my child is a doctor. My child is a journalist. Works for national, for the national broadcaster, stuff like that. And then she wakes up one morning and she's like, "Mommy, I'm going to make people laugh."
I've come to a point where I have a hugely open mind. Speaking of lawyers, I have a friend who went to law school, practiced law, and then quit his law career to sell food, Rogers Bites. And as we speak right now, the money he's earning could be way better than his counterparts that are still practicing law. Now, there are people who are practicing law and they are very rich, but many of them are actually grasping or struggling, if I may say. So when it comes to a child saying they want to be comedians, this is where, as a parent, from as young as, for instance, my last child is 6, and she keeps telling me, "Mommy, I want to be a salon girl." She wants to do hair, makeup, and whatnot. Now, I'm trying to see and keep my ears to the ground. Will she be interested in the same thing at 10, at 15, at 18? And by the time she finishes senior 6, if she is still resolute in her wanting to go into that industry, I'm going to support her. I'll take her to a good school and make sure that she follows that. Now, so why am I saying try to follow what they like from a young age? It would save you the money, the law school money. Now, like Onen here, he went to telecommunications engineering school and he's a comedian. Maybe if the parents had paid attention to his interests earlier on, that money would have been rerouted into something that he likes. But you see, we also have a problem. Most of the parents, maybe our generation is having a different mind of their own, but most of our parents, how do you even say, "Mbu, I'm going to study MDD"? How? When I'm a doctor? No, you can't do that. But today we have seen the Trevor Noahs of this world making it big. Trevor Noah was on the world stage hosting one of the biggest comedy shows, and he went to school. His mom supported him, and see where he is. He's been in rooms where some of us probably will never be. You get? Right. There is a time I saw him giving a speech at a White House dinner, and I couldn't be more proud.
And President Joe Biden told him, "You have the chance today to roast me, and you'll not be in trouble for it."
Imagine that. It is his craft, it is his talent that has taken him there. So I have an open mind.
Right. Thank you so much, Olive. And it's on that very point that I'd like to ask Andrew. Andrew, my question this morning would be, at what point did you decide you're going to be a comedian? And what was the reaction of these parents who had paid your tuition?
I know.
Okay, mine, I felt it started for a cause. All this time I've been funny, like very funny. I could pass like this, everyone would be laughing. But then it reached 2019. 2019, my second child was born, but unfortunately she was born prematurely. So every time I would go to the hospital, I would find distressed mothers, and I would make a joke like this. Then they'd be like, I think we watch you on TV. Then it pushed me to starting a YouTube channel. And after that, I went for the audition of the East Africa Got Talent here in Kampala. So mine started like to address an issue, the distressed mothers. In fact, our first show in 2021 at the Fairway Hotel was dedicated to those mothers of premature babies.
Right. So what was the idea of your parents, or what perspective they have when you told them, I have decided? Had you practiced what you had studied?
Yeah, I practiced for some time, then I joined media.
Oh, you joined media?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of media works. But I practice engineering.
So I would like to know what your parents or relatives had to say. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, the reputation of the family matters. And in most cases, like we said, the perspective that people have about comedy is on the negative side.
I think my mother is this person who feels like you can do what you want.
Right.
You can do, so long as it can make you happy. Yeah, she comes for the shows.
So she actually laughs at your jokes.
Yeah, she laughs. In fact, she's funnier than me. Only that
the apple didn't fall far from the tree.
She didn't get the opportunity to go on stages that we go on.
Great. And so, having explored the fact that you have a supportive mother that feels like, okay, my son is doing the right thing. First, let's look at the type of comedy that is out there. You chose a particular cause. You know, you were inspired by something. And that, I believe that's what shapes the kind of comedy that you do. What challenge do you face with fellow comedians when it comes to the comedy they do?
The content which is out there, at times I don't want to consume them, the vulgar content and those other ones. For my case, I chose to do what news comedy and stand-up comedy, and I always call myself the king of clean comedy, because everything I do, I have to go through it and make sure that it's clean for anyone to watch. Because I feel like when I do this thing, my daughter Shalom, my daughter Samantha, my son can watch. So when they watch, are they going to be proud of their father? So that is it. So at times the other comedians feel like as if you put too much work in what you do.
And you're supposed to be putting so much work, because that's the beginning of our problem, where we think comedy is just something light.
Because at times we have to research about this. Because when I'm making a joke maybe about the Speaker of Parliament, it doesn't just have to be a joke. I have to research about it and ensure that everything that I'm saying there is true, and now bring the humor to it.
Right.
So there's a lot of work, there's a lot of research work in it.
Great. The other part that I am concerned about usually is when you are preparing for these shows. Maybe you might want to give someone, or even, I mean, if you've been invited somewhere, just a little bit of the kind of work that you put in. Do you read scripts? Do you write scripts? Do you watch other comedians? Because someone at some point also said most comedians in Uganda lack originality.
That's true, because everyone wants to go on stage because he has seen how the other person made people laugh, so he wants to copy the other ones. So for my case, I feel like I have to watch the other comedians just to give me confidence and take their perspective of maybe what I'm going to deliver. And I have to research about the content that I'm going to deliver to a particular audience. In fact, what I always do is tailor making content.
Right.
Yeah, like recently I was called by the World Food Program to perform about the life after COVID. So I have to write something about that specifically and bring the humor to it. Yeah.
Great. And well, that said, let's take a look at some of the clips that Andrew had of Andrew's performances when he's out there on stage. Well, looks like the white man's machines seem to be delaying us, but in a few moments we're going to be looking at Andrew performing on some of the stages, and what, you know, if you haven't watched him perform, this would be some of the moments to see what exactly he can do, especially when we are talking about clean comedy. Personally, I'm very interested in the fact that
besides that, I wanted to ask Andrew a question. When it comes to you know, comedy and all that, I was watching a podcast where one of the other comedians, Daniel O'Mara, did mention something about the fact that there is always a bad day at office that is either going to embarrass a comedian, and that is something that builds you. And for someone who has actually done emceeing gigs, I've actually also experienced some of these things. There's a time where you fail to read your audience and you feel embarrassed inside of you, but you have to keep on going. Now on your side, whereby you crack, you know, a joke that you feel was supposed to make people happy, and then no one is moved by it. How do you get back to such an embarrassment, or how do you get back when you feel like today it was a bad day at office?
Actually, to start with, is it embarrassing when you tell a joke and no one laughs?
It's embarrassing, yet it's very normal even. Yeah, because not all jokes will land.
Okay.
There's what we call landing of jokes. So at times you prepare yourself very well, and now what you get on stage is what makes people laugh. So it means you have to understand the audience. You don't just go and drop any joke on the audience. You might find that this is maybe an audience of politicians. So when you bring something that hits them, they might not like it. So you have to understand the audience and change accordingly. Because as a comedian, you have to have too much content in your mind. So which one do you drop and what? And the audience will work with it.
What I see you saying is that you actually have to think fast. And going back to what Chantal asked you earlier, where people think comedians are unserious people, this actually is giving me a different perspective, that there are people with a high, how should I call it, IQ, like you're thinking on your feet. You have to think very fast. Okay, if that has not landed, what next? What do I say? But going back to the content that comedians are putting out there. I'm curious about where you see the future of Uganda's comedy, because for now, I feel like comedians are stretching themselves thin in the sense that you're going to find a comedian on stage doing a performance, stand-up comedy, but then the same comedian is the one on radio and TV presenting a show, and then the same comedian is the one emceeing an event and part of the entertainment package for that event. So isn't there a risk for recycling jokes and for being unoriginal at some point?
It all goes to preparation. When you have been given an opportunity to deliver, then you have to prepare for each and every other time that will come.
But aren't you spreading yourself thin because you're now being a jack of all trades?
They say everything nowadays starts from survival. So
gig economy.
It's a gig economy. So if you can be an MC, why would you throw the opportunity away? Why would you throw the money away?
I get that, but okay.
So the fact is, it is hard. It is hard. So you have to prepare for it. You have to prepare for it. Yes.
Great. And the clip is ready. Looks like the machines caught up with us. Today we seemed to move faster than the machines. So yes, the clip is ready. Let's see Andrew and Nen performing on one of the shows.
If you studied at that school, you would not have any hope. The school was called Atumikoho SS. Atumikoho means it will end in tears. It will end in tears, SS. Everything in that school was disorganized. From the teachers. How can a teacher who is teaching biology be the same teacher for history? The senior woman teacher of the school was a man. I mean, it was serious. It happened that the senior woman teacher before was a woman. But now, the woman got a misunderstanding with the husband. So she refused to study, to teach. The husband was the headmaster of the school. So the headmaster now went ahead to look for someone who would replace that woman. He looked around, found that all the teachers were male, so he got a teacher who didn't have beards to be the senior woman teacher. This is why I tell people, you people have some beards, you need 3. They will come and attack you, you will be the senior woman teacher of a neighboring school. Yes. Have some beard.
Have some beard. Well, you've said it from Andrew Onen, and that those are some of his performances on stage. Have you got any backlash when it comes to you go for a show and you perform, and then you get backlash after for some of the comments and the content that you would have put together?
I haven't experienced, I think, yeah.
So you haven't had a scenario where someone is not happy with some of the statements that you have made while performing?
No one has ever come to me that that maybe you did something which was against me, because I always prepare for the show.
Great.
Yeah.
The other question I had was especially on your spouse.
Yeah.
Don't you say, do you ever get mad at her and you want to express yourself and she thinks you're joking?
Oh, yeah.
I think she has understood me very well, because we have been, I've been joking too much, and at times she used to tell me that, please tell me when you're serious, like alert me, alert me when you're serious, so that I can know that I'm going to attend to you and hear what. Because my life has always been a joke. I think this is the most serious time that I've ever had with you guys.
I have worked closely with Daniel O'Mara,
Yes.
and I will, to add to what you've said, they actually, when you spend more time with them, you get to know when they are serious. Because I've had heated arguments with Daniel O'Mara, and then we have had the goofing, the jokes. So I think the wife gets it.
Yeah. It took some time, though.
Exactly. That is where my point was, because one moment she'll think, because even when you're joking or you're cracking a joke, because it's where you earn from. The joke has to be seriously funny, if I may put it like that.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
So maybe at a particular point you could have been challenged. Do you ever get in the middle of like an argument and your mind, a comedian's mind is creative all the time. Anything can be content.
Yeah.
In the middle of an argument, and before you know it, you're bursting into laughter.
In fact, I can say that maybe after arguments, I always write down the jokes that I picked from the arguments.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I imagine that because as a creative, because you are a creative, as a creative, almost anything can give you content.
Very true.
Almost anything.
Yeah.
And I was just imagining you busting out laughing while telling your wife, I'm very serious, by the way. Now, to the kids. One morning, this kid has done something you don't expect them to do, and you're supposed to be tough for them. But this kid watched your show last night, you were making people laugh. Have they learned how to know daddy's joking this time, and this time he's not joking?
I joke with my kids too much, but also there is a line between joking and seriousness that I said that they understand. They have learned it already. They understand. So every time when they're in the wrong, but not that they're always in the wrong, because I'm bringing them up well, so they understand. Even the little one, Alvin, he understands that. I think daddy has changed right now.
The face has changed.
Yeah.
And at what point do you now get back to yourself Do you have, say you program yourself and be like, okay, I think with these kids, for them to take me serious, I'm going to be mad for like a day or these hours, and then when I come back or when I do this, I'm back to the joking dad.
So I also don't always want to give them mental torture, psychological torture, and the rest. So after that, I can disappear. Then I come, even after 1 hour, I come with something small, and we start fresh. So long as they have learned that they were in the wrong. Yeah.
To someone out there, yes, Sonko.
Yeah, I wanted Andrew to just take us back to his breakthrough from the engineering part to getting into comedy. You know, this is where you're getting passion, or let's say choosing passion as a career, rather than what you actually studied or what your parents actually thought you would be. And in this kind of situation, how do you get into comedy? If you're to take us back into this journey, and how do you break through into the market? Because at that time it was really still a virgin territory, if I'm to say. We didn't have so many of the comedians doing that kind of comedy you're doing, more so doing it in English, because most of the comedians we had were doing Uganda skits and the like. So take us through your breakthrough. What happened, and when did you realize that, well, I am in this
is
for good
sustainable
now? Yes.
Okay, first of all, I think my classmates forced me to join comedy more. When I was doing telecommunications engineering, they would change that, this guy is not doing telecommunications engineering, he's doing telecommunication. So all my classmates be like, hey, telecomedian, how are you? Telecomedian, how are you? So it wasn't very hard for me. As I told you, I joined comedy officially in 2019. I think that's the very year also that my brother Salvador hosted me just at Kingdom Kampala here. So mine wasn't very hard, So,
okay, for me, I have a question when in the realm of payment. I've had conversations with comedians where they say that someone will invite you for an event and they want you to maybe perform for 30 minutes and they want to pay you 200,000, and yet they will have a singer on the same event singing maybe 3 songs for 9 minutes and they are paying them maybe 6 figures. And I would like to know, has that changed? Has the payment changed when it comes to comedy? Are people taking you more seriously and paying back what you are worth?
So depends on what the maybe event promoter feels you are going to bring to bring to his concert. Like if he knows that you're going to influence more people to come for the show, then they pay you accordingly. And the fact is, there are shows, they are friendly. There are shows for friends that we have. So at times they just call you and be like, okay, let me go and support a brother. So that one you don't ask for like 2 million from a friend whom you know is going to make 1.5 million. Yeah, you're supporting. When MTN calls you, when like I told you last time, World Food Program called me. The other time I was called in Nairobi. So this one here, you charge accordingly. You charge accordingly.
Is there a standard rate? Because we've had for some singers, hey, to get that one on your introduction, 3 million. So do you comedians also have a standard rate?
We have standard rates for specific events.
Okay.
Okay. I think the other part she was trying to dig into is the fact that because people think comedy is light, they will be paying you less.
Yes.
And how have you handled that challenge?
It's about appreciation. Comedy generally, as my brother was talking about it, it has not yet been appreciated that much in Uganda and Africa all over. Yes, so but there are people who have understood the art and they appreciate. So they pay you according to how they appreciate, and also you put yourself like you have to value yourself. You have to have a pride in yourself as a comedian. You're not just going to accept every money that will be given to you.
Great. Well, you have heard it. We are speaking to Andrew Nen, and we are talking about the general overview of comedy and comedians in our society. And we would like you to be part of the conversation. And we are saying, share your perspective on the general perspective general perception of comedians in the country. We would like to know what you think yourself out there, irrespective of what your neighbor thinks. What you think if your child said they want to join comedy, if your friend joined comedy, and of course, what the first thing that would come to your mind. We would like to know, would like to hear from you, because at the end of the day, it's the perspective of the society that actually translates into how these people progress. And you're not going to be in a society where you're not accepted, and then you think you're going to thrive. So to you, the society, to you who is watching, would like to know what you think. Now, back to you, Andrew.
Yeah.
Someone out there who thinks comedy is light, who thinks comedy is actually jokes. It is jokes, but it's not actually a joke.
Comedy is not a joke.
Yes, it's jokes, but it's not a joke.
We produce jokes, but we are not a joke.
You're not a joke. And now, my question to you right now is, if someone is trying to understand the role of comedy, say you're selling to someone right now, what would you tell them is the importance of comedy? Before they start thinking you're unserious and I mean, you don't take your life serious, you're joking all the time, you can't put, some think you would not be able to put food on the table.
Yeah.
I mean, back then if you brought a comedian home, they'd be like, look at this joker. You understand?
Yeah.
And that's wrong.
Yeah.
So to someone who doesn't understand, what would you tell them is the importance of comedy, for someone to actually think about it from another perspective?
Oh, number one, I always tell people that comedy is medicine. Yeah, comedy is medicine. You can get out there when you're very stressed, but when you go to a national theater or any comedy theater around, you find that you're relieved. So another thing is comedy is a way of passing important messages, as I told you in the beginning. When something is very hard for the community to take, when you add humor to it, they will take it better and easily. There is in Kenya, we have theater puppetry. I think you guys know puppetry.
Yes.
Yeah, puppetry. So in Kenya, sensitization sensitization is now through puppetry, and puppetry is also a form of comedy nowadays. Yeah. So you find that the Ministry of Health in Kenya, they're using puppeteers to pass messages, information, sensitize the public about cholera, about the fight against malaria and the rest. So comedy can be used for sensitization. So one thing is everyone is a comedian. Yeah, you guys are comedians.
I agree with you on that, because Chantal, think about it this way. We have moments like here on Good Morning Uganda, every morning before the show or in between sessions, someone is cracking a joke, someone is talking about something. I could crack a joke about the guy behind the camera right now.
And you see how he's laughing.
Yes, so I agree with you. And I also don't understand people who go for a comedy show and don't laugh. Why are you here? Who sent you?
No, and another thing, the joke is, one joke is not for everybody.
There are people who, I like people watching. I've been to comedy, and you view this person for some good time, and they're not laughing. I'm like, it seems like this person is too bougie to laugh.
That's what the other comedian says, that his talent, like the stress of that person is beyond his talent.
I think I would agree with him, because just like Olive put it, you're going to see someone in the audience, this person's arms are folded and they're just looking at
through.
Probably like you have put it.
There are those points that we used to write in primary of language barrier. You guys call it language barrier, right?
Yes.
So at times someone is not understanding what you are delivering, so you can't just laugh unless maybe they step on your foot and say you laugh. You have paid money, you laugh.
But comedy is, to me, it's food for the soul. It's nourishment for the soul. It's like music.
I was watching Britain Has Got Talent at a point, and there was this comedian that was auditioning, and this one of the judges explained partially why people join comedy. And he said, I'm not going to quote exactly what he said, but he said that usually comedy is from a dark place. Most people who join comedy or who do comedy or who love comedy really much, they are trying to cut down the stress levels inside them. They've been through too much, and humor is the only way they can get to tone that down. Do you think you being a comedian and being passionate about it could have come from a dark place from you? By dark, I don't mean evil, but I mean from a place where maybe you've been going through hard times, you've been broken, and comedy was the only medicine you had at a point.
In fact, you have asked that at a very... for my case, I think comedy has helped me go through life. Yeah. I've never wanted to share this, but I was born and my father died when I was 1 year old. Yeah, so I grew up with my mother. So every time when I would go maybe to ask my friends, can you give me your bicycle? Can I ride your bicycle? They would ask me, until you tell us where your father is, we'll not give you the bicycle. Yeah? So I grew up this angry young person. So it reached like about primary 6 there that I realized I would fight with my jokes. So when you say anything, I fight back with a joke, and people laugh at you and I disappear. So how do you call that? It's like
well, definitely it's you using comedy to literally survive a very bad situation,
exactly,
or an uncomfortable situation.
Very true.
So probably there is some truth to the fact that people who love comedy or even do comedy are doing it from a place of pain and distress, and they're trying to get out of that place. Lastly, you have a show that is coming up, and we would like to know about this show. It's about 9 days from now.
Yeah, 8 days.
8 days now. 8 days, so tell us about this show. How do we get there? How do we find you? How much am I paying? I would love to be part of the show.
Okay. Next week on Saturday, that is 18th of November, I'm hosting my, I'm having my second comedy special. Last year I had one at the National Theatre called Apala to Kampala. This one here is titled Commonly and Common. Yeah, so it means we are going to bring you the best comedy that you can ever have. I'm going to be at the National Theatre. I'll be doing a performance for 2 hours. 2 hours on stage. I have support acts like Dr. Hilary Okello, my very good friend, and other comedians. The tickets are at 30,000 shillings. That is if you buy it, if you make a mistake and you buy it before the event. Yeah, very true.
So we should make the right mistake.
Make the right mistake and buy your ticket before the event. At the gate, the tickets are going to be 50,000. For those ones who are very supportive, who can afford, you can buy VIP tickets at 100K. And the show starts at 6 p.m. Just know that you're going to have a good time. A good time. In fact, I wanted to give you a ticket.
Please.
Huh?
Oh yes, thank you. Thank you. You've literally gotten a stone and throw it into the behind.
You've pushed the one who's quoting.
Yes. 3 tickets for you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And all right.
Oh, this is a VIP ticket.
Yeah, it's VIP ticket. So you see,
you understood.
Yeah, with VIP, you guys. With VIP, you are allowed to ask the comedian to repeat a joke.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like,
That is nice.
Yeah, hey, that was nice. Can you repeat? Because you're sitting.
Repeat it.
Well, I do have a comment right here as we are winding up, unfortunately. And someone says, hello guys, thanks for hosting on Men on the show today. I believe it's high time we Africans learn to appreciate comedy. We are so much limited in creativity and innovation because of cultural beliefs, and this has affected a lot of talent, which could have been not only on a source of income and entertainment, but also a cure somehow to certain situations. You will agree that most emotions and illnesses can be completely cured through comedy and entertainment. How I pray that we learn to realize this in Africa. This is Bunoti from Mbale. Yes.
Okay, thank you, my friend from Mbale there. Maybe just to add on about the show, You can buy your tickets from the National Theatre, the tickets that I've told you, early bird tickets, or you can buy your tickets online. You go to www.quicket.co.ug and search for Andrew Onen. You're going to find the tickets there, early bird tickets at 30,000, or you can just call 0773 578795 and your ticket will be delivered.
Great. And how do I get you on social media? Because I believe some of your communications are on social media, and I'd like to keep up. Okay. You might also drop a joke or two on your social media, and I would love to love some.
Yes.
You said YouTube, so let's...
Yeah, YouTube, nowadays it's X, I don't know.
Yeah, Twitter,
formerly Twitter, yes. Now X, I don't know what happened, why they should be X now. So Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, even TikTok, all of them at Andrew Onen, or you can visit my website, www.andrewonencomedy.com. Yeah, you can get access to all my works.
And that is how you can get Andrew Onen. Lucky me, this Friday morning, I just got myself a VIP ticket to next week's show on Saturday. So please do reach out to Andrew Onen, but also do reach out to Quicket. You'll be able to get a ticket. But also you can go to National Theatre and you can buy yourself early bird ticket. He said if you make a mistake, 30,000 Uganda shillings, and it's a very good mistake, I can assure you. But if you want to, go ball bigger, 100,000 for VIP. But at the gate it will be 50,000 for those that will not have bought down for 30,000 earlier. And well, that is about it. Thank you so much, Andrew Onen, for coming through. I understand we're still going to be having you a little later, and we're going to be laughing a little louder this Friday morning. For now, we're going to be getting into a very short break, but Sonko is still with us, and we're going to be having the press review for East Africa and Uganda. So please do stick around. And like I said, Andrew Onen is still with us. He's going to be cracking some ribs this morning.
Of the day on UBC.
One-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
A weekly face-to-face conversation focusing on accountability, inspiration, information, and sensitization of the public from the various sources, such as inspirational profiles.
Having a disability is not inability.
Every Friday 9 p.m., it's one-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
Don't you see anywhere that you would give a credit in the fight against COVID?
My role as the owner of the country is not to, be preoccupied by giving credit to my servant.
We have said that if we are to talk to General Museveni, there must be certain conditions in place.
Is it 5 million shillings to MPs that voted for?
Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
So this is my general perception. One, that this project entered in strategic areas of government, but that it has created a base for the now last mile strategy, which is the past development model. And therefore this base that it has left will help us actually, and I'm sure we'll get better results in a Chole area and Ajumani when we are implementing the past.
Good morning again, and it's time for the GMU Friday edition, of which we start off with what is making headlines at the front pages of our local dailies in Uganda. The New Vision with the headline, I am sorry, Minister Mary Goreti Chitutu apologizes to President Museveni. Why is that so? The New Vision has more. Then Rhodes 2024 NAM Summit, KCC gets 78 billion Ugandan shillings for first lift. And then the New Vision series, Battles That Define Kakungulu. Read more about that in the New Vision. And then furthermore, hygiene, landlords, tenants remanded over filth. New Vision with more. What Basoga expect from Inabantu. Read more about that in the New Vision. Then also leadership, the Uganda Muslim Supreme Council appoints new Secretary General. That and more is in the New Vision as President Museveni okays 500 billion Ugandan shillings funding to science and technology. Then the Daily Monitor, Ugandans contracting HIV for fun, according to the headline here and according to what the doctors have revealed. Then in the Scoop magazine, Nyege Nyege, let the spirit take over. Read about the Nyege Nyege Festival 2023. It kicked off yesterday. And then also Protestants eating most in government as a new finding now tackles religious differences. Now in the other news, Kenya declines Uganda's request to use oil pipeline as Uganda is to be removed from finance grey list. There is also a pictorial at the front page of the Daily Monitor. President Museveni approving tax holidays, 500 billion Ugandan shillings for innovation. The pictorial shows President Museveni, also Minister, that is Monica Musenero, and the First Lady, Mama Janet Kataha. Then elsewhere, we now focus on the Daily Nation in Kenya. The Daily Nation highlights tighten your belts. Ruto says that his administration has been forced to make painful choices, and are the Kenyans ready for it? Now the TSC lines up promotions for 36,500 teachers, that is in Kenya. Now in sports, athletics, Rotterdam 1 hour and 59 minutes. Kiptume's plan for marathon history is highlighted with the Daily Nation. Now also, Safaricom Kenya registered 10% growth in net income. As in criticism, Ruto has changed after winning poll, claims Malema of South Africa. And now lastly, from our press review this morning is the Citizen newspaper from Tanzania. Now, queries over removal of a high-flying NIC boss, who is actually also in the news currently. Now, how new payment system will transform African trade? The Daily Nation gives you more. LATRA police act on night bus travel irregularities. The new home loan scheme for low-income earners is also being highlighted in the daily, in the Citizen newspaper. Now, Tanzania's top entrepreneurs have also been highlighted in this particular one. All right, now that is it for what is making way at the top of our newspapers. That is the top dailies in Kenya and Tanzania, as well as in Uganda. Now it is time for us to get into more of the action for our Friday. It is the GMU Friday edition here, where we tend to light up a little bit and also try to usher you into the weekend in the best way we can, as others are preparing for other incidents, or let's say other kind of events for the weekend, and of course setting out for what is likely to be a mouth-watering weekend filled up with lots of activities within the country. Here we kick it off in style. But this time around, it's quite a different one. No music, but rather some comedy. And ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Onen is still with us here to make sure that he cracks your ribs with his jokes. And of course, it will definitely be good for your Friday morning, more so with this kind of weather that does seem to be a weather for coffee. Or it can as well be a weather for two if you choose it that way. Andrew, good morning once again.
Good morning.
Okay, and you do have a concert coming up next week. I should say, should I call it a concert or?
It's a comedy special.
A comedy special.
Yeah, yeah. It
All
sounds
right,
more American, but we are using it in Uganda.
Oh, okay. Now, besides that, our viewers are actually highly and eagerly waiting for you to take the stage.
Oh.
Please.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Uganda, how are you doing? I know you have not paid for this show, so I'm not going to joke very seriously. You have to take that. Otherwise, for introduction, my name is Andrew Onen, the proper Ugandan without propaganda. I come from a village which is very close to Kampala. I think my village is the closest to Kampala. It's called Apala. Apala is very close to Kampala, just like 2 letters away from Kampala. When you write Kampala, and you remove the K and the M, what remains is my village, Apala. That's how close. So because of that closeness, it's the capital village of Uganda. So ladies and gentlemen, the person you're seeing on your screen right now is from the capital village of Uganda. Right here in Kampala, I stay in the north. To be very specific, I stay in the northern part of Muyenga. Very many people, I know very many of you out there, you fear staying in Muyenga. But I decided that why not I should represent you people. Because right now, we are just like about 2 in Muyenga. There's me and 1 person from the east, the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Anita Among. Now there is also the father of the twins. So we are, the number has increased. So people keep asking, how do you manage to stay in Muyenga? Today I have come to spill out the secret to you. To stay in Muyenga is very easy. There's only one condition. The condition is also very easy. The condition is you have just to stay. Like me, I just stay in Muyenga, but I sleep in Namuongo around railways. That is it. So even you can stay. You can stay in Kololo and sleep in Najanankumbi. You can stay in Munyonyo and sleep in Nansana. So that is the condition of having good life in Kampala. All these places, there are hours. You can go there and stay. So the condition of having good life in Kampala is stay where you love, but sleep where you can afford. Okay? Yeah, don't just do things anyhow. So I don't think you didn't pay for this show, but I think I should end there. I've just given you an advice.
The last part has actually got me thinking twice. Where you said stay where you love,
but sleep where
you can afford.
Yes.
So in simple terms, if it's daytime, kindly go where you love to be.
Daytime, you pass around. Serena. Take selfies. Make people know that we are in Kampala. But in the evening, know where you're, because it's a hideout after all.
Ladies and gentlemen, to our dear viewers, that's Andrew Onen for you. Next week, Saturday, he does have a show. That is the comedy special at the National Theatre. Tickets go for 30,000, that is ordinary, and 100,000 Ugandan shillings for the VIP. Luckily, the team here has already been given 100,000 Ugandan shillings worth of a ticket. So for us, we shall be there seated in the VIP section. And also, to note, he did reveal that if you sit in the VIP, you will be able to ask for a repeat of a certain joke. Now, clearly, it's still Friday morning, so if I told you in Nyege and that is where you feel you want to stay, remember that during night time, you have to sleep where you can afford. Guys, we're still here for the GMU Friday edition. Stick around with us. We'll return shortly.
Topic of the day on UBC.
One-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
A weekly face-to-face conversation focusing on accountability, inspiration, information, and sensitization of the public from the various sources such as inspirational profiles.
Having disability is not inability.
Every Friday 9 p.m. it's one-on-one with Michael Jordan Lukomwa.
Don't you see anywhere that you would give a credit in the fight against COVID?
My role as the owner of the country is not to, be preoccupied by giving credit to my servant.
We have said that if we are to talk to General Museveni, there must be certain conditions in place.
Is it true that you paid 5 million shillings to MPs that voted for?
Was brought to you by MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
So this is my general perception. One, that this project entered in strategic areas of government, but that it has created a base for the now last mile strategy, which is the past development model. And therefore this base that it has left will help us actually, and I'm sure we'll get better results in Achore area and Ajumani when we are implementing the past development model.
Good morning, Uganda. Thank you so much for keeping it the Friday special. I'm hoping that you had fun with Onen. His comedy is really nice. So are you staying in Muyenga and sleeping in Nansana, or you're staying and sleeping in Muyenga? Interesting right there. But right now we get into something else, but still in the world of art, and that is writing. And if you're like me, who loves to read, anything in black and white is something that intrigues and interests me, then this conversation is for you. With me is Samuel Senyonjo from a program, Faith of Our Fathers, and he will tell us more about that, about the projects they do and some of the books that they have written. Right with me, I have a book they have written, and it's called For the Life of Another, and it is a biography of Honorable Reverend Dr. Dr. F. Kefa Sempanji. Now, if you've heard about the story of the little boy that was saved out of the hands of someone that was mistreating him, putting him under the bed and not giving him food, that story was in the papers in the, I think, early 2000s. If you remember that story, this is the gentleman that actually brought this boy's story to the fore and helped him to have a somewhat good life thereafter. But of course, they have a new book coming up, and it is Simeon Kaiwa, His Life, Works and Depth of Knowledge in the Mystery of the Supernatural. But I'll let Samuel tell us more about the Faith of Our Fathers program, and then we'll continue. Good morning, Samuel.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I am fine. It's nice to have you here.
Nice meeting you.
So you're an author.
Yeah, I'm an author.
So as for some of us, we are consuming.
Okay.
You are the people that make sure that we enjoy what we find on paper.
Definitely.
Okay, so tell us more about Faith of Our Fathers program.
Okay, Faith of Our Fathers, it is a program that has come up, or that came up, to have our history on papers. Okay, we have had a lot of people here, they have done so many things, but then after 20 years, you don't know anything about them. I was inspired by a book I read entitled, it is by Josephus, Antiquities of the Jews. The book was written in 300. So I was like, the book was written in 300 and it is still around. I don't know even my great-great-grandfathers, just 4 of them. Then I was like, no, we have to put something down. So Faith of Our Fathers has come up to put down something on papers, more so in the Christian fraternity. We either Christians, we need to put down the things. So we are documenting the works of our fathers, the people who have been here in faith, Christian fraternity. That is what we are doing. And we are aiming at more than 50 books. We've gathered a lot of data. For now, I think we have more than 30 people, the data we've gathered. So we want to put something down, something in books. Maybe they'll read about them. Maybe the children, 40 years from now, 50 years from now, they're going to read about them. It's not about getting money, because if you want to do business, you can't write books in Uganda. If you are aiming at getting money, you can't write books in Uganda. No. Because there's that old saying that if you want to hide something, please, information, put it in books. So we are not aiming at money. It's more legacy for our country, Uganda. Personally, it is my legacy for the body of Christ. So we are documenting a church history of Uganda, not by the whites. Yes, the whites have done something, but this time around, not the whites. Us, writing our history, we know our values, we know our culture, we know our everything and tradition. So we are going to write down the history, or the church history of Uganda. And then we are going to have some dedicated biographies and shared biographies. Dedicated, like that one of Honorable Kefa Sempanji, it is a dedicated, but we shall have shared biographies. You have like 5 persons put in one book. So that is what we are aiming at.
When you said dedicated biography, what exactly do you mean?
Dedicated, that has to be one person. Yeah, there are those people who have a lot of data, so you can't share their data, and they have done a lot for the body of Christ. And Faith of Our Fathers is not only looking at documenting church history, but also there are those people in Uganda who have contributed a lot to the nation. We want to write their biographies. There are so many biographies that are coming up. We've been gathering data for a lot of time, and we have started to releasing that data through the books. So we shall have dedicated and shared biographies, not only for the body of Christ, but also for those people who have done something. Our pieces are so interesting, you can't just put them down if you start reading them. So that is Faith of Our Fathers. Basically, we are starting from Uganda and we shall be moving to other African countries, documenting the history, church history of such countries. Basically, that is Faith of Our Father. And we are a group of people. I'm not alone. We have so many people on board. Raymond, Semakula. There are so many people on board. Yes, that is Faith of Our Fathers.
Well, Victor J. Bunny said that a good story is a dream shared by the author and the reader. And what Samuel is trying to say is that there are people that have legacies, but when they die, the legacies also dwindle because nothing about their works has been put on paper for generations to come, to appreciate, to refer to. And this is where, as Africans, we fall short because you can't, like he said, the book that inspired him was written in 300. Was that Eddie?
Eddie.
So in 300
it's around
Eddie.
1,700 years.
Exactly, because now we are in 2023 Eddie.
Yeah.
So that goes to show you how important it is to put something down. In Africa here, many people cannot trace their lineage
Yeah, definitely.
to the first man.
I think I have two grandpas I know about. I have the one
on your maternal side?
No, paternal.
Okay.
Can you imagine?
So you know your immediate grandfather.
Two of them,
and,
only two descendants.
The great-grandfather.
Definitely.
But you don't know anyone after that.
I don't know.
And do you know where the problem comes in?
We don't try.
We don't
put things in right.
And it pains me too. You touched on it a bit in the beginning. It pains me that the history we know about where we come from as Ugandans is history that was written for us.
Yes.
And you know, when the writer is writing, they have the right to, you know, tweak
They have
the
their
truth.
interests.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so,
like, for example, we studied history and social studies.
Yes.
And they are like, John's speech discovered
Lake Victoria.
Can you imagine?
No.
River Nile.
River Nile, yes.
Can you imagine?
But we know that River Nile was here
and people
way
were there.
before.
Yeah.
I think since the time of creation.
Yeah, definitely. It is in the Bible.
Yeah.
And so now, why don't we come up and write our own history? The Bible was interpreted by a man called Chituka. Is a Mzungu, by the way. Chituka. But why would he interpret it? He was here for 10 years. He had to study Luganda for some good time. Then he had to write the Bible, to interpret, to translate the Bible from English, then to Luganda. But why? We are lazy. We don't want to write. We are not assertive. We are a bit lazy. So
are we
are
lazy
coming
though?
up.
Are we lazy, or is it because the whole art of writing and reading has not been inculcated in us enough?
That is partly. Yeah, like for example, governments must support literature. There is this friend of mine, actually I was going to write his biography, the late Philip Bongo, but my friend sang and wrote the biography. That guy was like, I was here for 10 years, struggling, here and there, struggling. I had to move miles and miles away to Sweden. That is when my talent was recognized. And I had to produce music. That music came back to Uganda and you enjoyed it. That is the same music I was performing here in Uganda for so many years, but no one was recognizing any talent. No one could scout any talent in me. I had to move miles away, and that government of Sweden in Stockholm, they supported the music, they supported African literature. That is when people, we have people like Fide Bongo Lutaya and Maddox Semada Sematimba. Their music, even up to now, is still relevant and live. It is not Christmas not until you've had songs of
We
Philip
wish
Bongo
you
the
a
Retired.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, it is not Christmas not until you've had We Wish You a Merry Christmas
Yes.
and a Happy New Year.
Yes.
You know why? He went somewhere, they recognized the talent, they supported the talent. He used 10 years to produce the music we're enjoying today. We are going in Christmas season.
Yes.
You must enjoy that music. So
I love the music.
You love it? So, I mean, about...
I love that entire Christmas album.
Yes. So, and another thing, we need to support our own things. As Ugandans, we are not patriotic enough. Americans are not that talented, but they support their things.
They're not that talented?
Yeah, they are not that talented.
So
we are talented.
The whole Hollywood that we see, all the books that we have consumed, especially in the world of fiction, like fictitious writers, majority of them are American. Of course, we also have amazing writers like the Bronte sisters that wrote Wuthering Heights and Jane Eyre, and these are great works of literature. But still, you're right.
It's called social imperialism. What they do, they make sure you love their things, whether they are good or not. They make sure.
Okay, you can't say Shakespeare was not good. You can't say Shakespeare was not good.
Okay, he was, but you know, we have read about them. Like, for example, the book I'm going to introduce today of Professor Simeon Kaiwa. I've read so many books. I'm a church historian. I teach church history at Harvest Bible University. I've read so many books about God's generals. I've not found one like him, Professor Simeon Kaiwa. I've not found one like him, but why? We don't promote our things.
And speaking about promoting our own things, before Samuel tells us about this project, about Pastor Kaiwa,
yes.
I think there is something African writers, especially from West Africa, did that Ugandan writers need to do. And I need you to tell us more about that, because when you look at when you think African history, at least for me, I'm going to think Chinua Achebe,
yes.
I am going to think Wole Soyinka, and
yes.
right now I will think about Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie.
Yes.
But when you come to Uganda, we have writers like Jennifer Makumbi?
Jennifer Makumbi,
yes,
we have Tibatemwa, and
but they're not as out there. Like, I want a Ugandan writer to be as Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie everywhere.
Okay.
Why are we not there?
We are generally, the thing is general. For example, Nigeria, in Africa, they do promote their things. That's what I'll stick on. They do promote their things, not only in writing, but in music. At least you know a Nigerian musician.
Yes.
But do they know Ugandan musicians?
They know a few, Baby Cool, maybe.
Like two?
No,
but
you
may mention like 10 of them.
Okay.
Okay, from that, then you know, at
so
least you know Ugandan comedians. My friend has been here.
Yes.
On it. At least they know about, you know about at least 5 Ugandan, Nigerian comedians. Don't you know about them? Haven't you seen them?
Okay, so what are you trying to say, that Nigerians are good at putting themselves on the world map?
Definitely. We have good talents.
So
here.
why can't we do the same? What is failing us?
Patriotism? I don't know, but it's I think it's more of social imperialism. Social imperialism, you are tempted to think that the other guys are better than you. You are not good. Diamond Platinum was here, and he was like, you don't know that you have a gold here. I was talking about Chameleon. You don't know that you have gold here. You don't know that you have gold here. So we have good talents, but then we don't promote them. We have good talent. That's what I can say. But those people in the West, they do promote their things everywhere, on TikTok, on YouTube. I do take time and research. I do take time and research about media, about so many things. I think in media, we have like 4 people who have 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
Like Ugandan people?
Yeah, Ugandan people as in like single people. We have Anika Nsime, we have Kenzo and some other 2.
Okay, now let's
So we don't promote our things. We don't love our things. We think we don't have the best talents, but we have good talents. We just need to promote them.
Okay.
Before the government comes in.
All right,
Yeah.
that's I actually am in agreement with that, because how are you going to cement yourself on any scene, whether local, East African or African and internationally, if you do not promote your work? But also it goes back to the quality of the work that you're putting out there. But now crossing over to the project that you're launching next week, please tell us more about it.
We are going to launch that book of Professor Simeon Kaiwa on the 16th of December 2023 at Namirembe Christian Fellowship, the home of revival, the revival that started in December 1977. Let me talk just a little about Professor Simeon Kaiwa. Professor Simeon Kaiwa, as I've told you, that I've read so many books, but I've not seen anyone. We have Benson Dahosa, the Benins. I've not seen anyone like him. I've been at his church for some time, interviewing the church members, but almost half of the church members have got a miracle from Professor Simeon Kaiwa. He's in the area of academic, he's in the area of music. He has written over 200 songs. He's in the area of course, the church, and he's a father. He has Namirembe Christian Fellowship. But more so, his legacy are the miracles. He's the man who made us aware that miracles indeed happen. I've seen, some I've witnessed, yes. Like for example, my brother Kawesa, I saw myself, he was crippled. I saw myself. And 27 dead bodies have come to life. Some have been even at Mulago mortuary. Some are prominent people in the nation. He has done so many things. In that book we are going to see miracles, which miracles were in newspapers and TVs and everywhere, of dead people, of so many, of all sorts, of all kinds. And is this down to earth man? I've seen miracles. I've witnessed them. I've interviewed these people. I've seen the papers, and I think we need to celebrate him. He's a very humble guy. He's got 11 degrees inside.
11 degrees?
Yes, and around 4 PhDs and around 3 masters.
In which areas?
Different areas.
Okay.
For example, in mass communication, he's a professor in psychology, he's a professor in the supernaturals, he's done counseling, he's in the area of physics, in so many areas.
Hey.
And yeah, in the US, in the UK, is this guy who's been everywhere. He has taught in the State House, not State House, White House. I mean, we need to celebrate him. We need to celebrate his work. He has done something.
So, where is the launch going
The
to
launch
be?
is at Namirembe Christian Fellowship.
And which dates?
16th December from 8 p.m.
Is the launch free or?
It is free.
Ah, okay.
But the launch, if you want to buy a book, launch fee is 100,000 only 100,000.
So that is the cost of the book.
Yeah,
100,000. But it is optional, because you
it's
said
optional. It's very
if you
optional.
want to buy a book.
It's very optional. You may
okay.
just come and go.
So I have one more question regarding Faith of Our Fathers.
Yes, please.
When you say Faith of Our Fathers, are you only writing about men and their contributions in our society, or even the women of Vela that we've had in our society will be considered?
It's more of that old English Faith of Our Fathers, not meaning men.
Okay.
But
because a viewer out there would be like, yeah, but I know this person and their contribution to society has been great. And they worth, being written about.
It's about human being, not really men.
Not gender.
Not gender. It's not gender, but human race.
Okay.
It's more of human race.
Okay. So
Yes,
what would be your last remarks to our viewers?
Okay, to our viewers, first of all, I wish to appreciate you. Thank you for watching us. I'm inviting you on that date, 16th of December. 16th, it is going to be 2 p.m. Namirembe Christian Fellowship, the home of miracles. And my last remark, let's learn to support our things. Uganda has got good talents. Let's learn to empower. Let's learn to support our things. Let's learn to support our hustles. We shouldn't wait for the whites to come in here to document our things. And I want to tell you, we are in an era of knowledge. Shouting what? No, we are in era of knowledge. So let's embrace knowledge. Let's embrace our talents.
Well, there you have it. You need to embrace reading Ugandan literature, like he has said, and I'm adding to that voice because there are many Ugandans that are writing books. For instance, you mentioned Worship Harvest, and I know that they have these, I forget the right word, but these academies where before you graduate, you must publish a book. And so what am I trying to say? There are many books on the market written by Ugandans. You could delve into those and read some of the work that has been written by Ugandans. So in as much as you love reading Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's work, Chinua Achebe, and of course we have books here like Ngugi wa Thiong'o from East Africa, and we have many. So let's read African literature. Let's embrace Uganda's literature, and of course these biographies, like he said,
that's a good one. You can't die before reading that one.
Yes, you can read about Reverend Kefa Sempanji and his work. And so if for the people, lastly, for the people that want to contact you on A, having their biographies written, and B, accessing all the books that you have written, how do they do that?
I think let me give them my personal contact. How's that? My number is 0759 519192. I'm Samuel Senyonjo. I did law. It's what I do to get money to do those biographies.
So you're a lawyer?
Yeah, definitely.
Interesting.
Yes, so that's what I do. But I'm also a theologian and a psychologist.
Well, man of all trades. Well, this is all we had for you at this hour. But Good Morning Uganda Friday special edition continues. Like I said, we have a lot arranged for you, so please do not go away. I'm Olive Monica Najuma, and I've been having a conversation with Samuel Senyonjo from Faith of Our Fathers.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
So this is my general perception. One, that this project entered in strategic areas of government, but that it has created a base for the now last mile strategy, which is the past development model. And therefore this base that it has left will help us actually and I'm sure we'll get better results in Achore area and Adjumani when we are implementing the parish development model.
Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching Good Morning Uganda Friday special. Welcome aboard if you are just joining us. You are a little bit late because the entertainment is literally almost done. But we had Andrew and then earlier on and we were discussing comedy and of course your perspective as the community, as the residents of the country, as Africans when it comes to comedy. And well, we've understood that jokes are actually serious. The jokes have to be serious as well. But please do note that next week on Saturday he has a show at National Theatre. You can go ahead and catch that show. Well, I am here not just to entertain you or to give you entertainment updates. I'm also here to let you know that you can catch up on some movies this weekend. And of course, we have had some recommendations for you. And the very first recommendation is The Wrath of Becky. Now, this is a 2023 American action thriller film directed by Matt Angel and Suzanne Court. Angel wrote the screenplay based on a story by himself and Court. The film is sequel to the 2020 film Becky and features Lulu Wilson returning as the eponymous Becky alongside Sean William Scott. The Wrath of Becky premiered at the Southwest Film Festival on March 11th, 2023. It was released in the United States on May 26th, 2023. The film received positive reviews from critics. Take a look at the trailer.
It's been 2 years since 4 neo-Nazis invaded my family's lake house and murdered my father. I'm 16 now. I've run away from 3 foster homes. Diego, come. This is Elena Khan. I've lived with her for the past year.
We go now to a developing story. They call themselves the Noblemen, and they may be coming here to Fillmore. Whether or not the Noblemen decide to make an appearance at the town hall on Wednesday, only time will tell.
So are you gonna see us? You're just gonna stand there?
Right this way.
Finally. She did that on purpose.
Diego, attack!
Who is it? It's Becky.
You took my dog.
You go to the cops? I got enough weaponry in my barn to start an insurrection at Town Hall tomorrow. Find the girl. Give her back her dog!
As a fan of action thrillers, I would highly recommend that you catch up on Wrath of Becky. Now, what is the plot? 3 years after the harrowing ordeal with 4 neo-Nazis that killed her father, 16-year-old Becky continues living her life off the grid while escaping from successive foster homes and honing her survival skills. Picked up while hitchhiking, Becky and her dog Diego eventually settle and with what we call a matronly woman named Elena, who treats Becky like a responsible daughter and does not pry about her past. Well, if you are someone that loves action thrillers, that is the movie right there that you might want to watch this weekend. Another on the list of recommendations this morning is Champions. Now, Champions is a 2023 American sports comedy drama that is filmed This is a comedy drama film directed by Bobby Fairley in his solo directorial debut from a screenplay written by Mark Rizzo and is an English language remake of the 2018 Spanish film of the same name. The film stars Woody Harrelson as a temperamental minor league basketball coach who, after an arrest, must coach a team of players with intellectual disabilities, and this was part of his community service. Now, Caitlin Olson, Annie Hudson, and Chich Marine also star in this movie. Take a look.
We're talking really no boo-boo words.
Okay, fellas, we're gonna do a simple ball handling exercise.
My girlfriend? What's this? It's impossible to coach these guys. You don't have to turn them into the Lakers. They just need to feel like a team. We're gonna need some help.
You're getting a player off the injured list. Welcome to the team, Constantina. What's with the boogie board?
You do you, I do me, okay? Where do you get this guy?
He just showed up one day.
This is my sister, Alex. You wanna do cover karaoke with us? I don't want to. I get knocked down.
Can I get up again?
You're never gonna keep me down.
You know the game better than anybody.
You gotta defend over here.
You got to learn to build relationships. I'm new to all this.
Yeah, can tell.
Hey, we got next. Don't make me say it. Make you say what? That's a boo-boo word.
We got next.
Coach, this doesn't feel right.
I should be coaching in the NBA.
Well, you never know where things could lead.
No doubt.
You can get this team to the Special Olympics finals. You might be ready to be back in the NBA.
We've been following your incredible story, Coach. Marcus is just one win away from qualifying for the regional tournament.
I don't know if you're brave or crazy.
Give me a hug, Coach.
But I know this is your shot at being champions.
Champions is a movie right there that we are recommending. You want a good laugh? Well, yes, that is the movie that you might want to catch up on. Now, Marcus Marakovic, a hot-tempered but skilled assistant coach for a minor league basketball team in Iowa, lets his temper get the best of him. And this was during a game and shoves the head coach, Phil. After leaving the stadium, he gets drunk at a bar and while driving home, hits a police car, ending up in jail. The next day, he is bailed out by Phil. He gets into an argument with him, believing he was right, and if Phil had listened, none of the previous nights would have happened. Phil explains why he didn't listen and advises Marcus to get to know the players more, that they have personal lives that affect their playing. Phil then informs Marcus that the team owners have let Marcus go. Well, that's just a little bit of an insight into what happens in this movie, but well, catch up on that. You want a good laugh, but also a story that is inspiring. I would highly recommend that you watch Champions. Now, away from that, the next movie recommendation on the list this morning is Awareness. This is a 2023 Spanish-American science fiction action thriller. If you are someone that loves those, this is the movie for you right there to catch up on this weekend. This is directed by Daniel Ben-Meyer from the screenplay by Ben-Meyer, Ivan Ledesma, and Manuel Bach. It stars Carlos Scholes alongside Maria Pedraza, Pedro Alonso, Lela Lorena, and Oscar Janada. The trailer.
What the fuck was that? That's where the power is. To make others believe what you want them to and remain invisible. We need to get out of here. You know how to fight?
You have two options.
Ian, there's no time.
You can keep going down this road you're on, which I guarantee will bring you nothing but pain. Or you can come with me.
Dad, forgive me. Who was he? A perceiver. He can create projections like you, as well as many other things. We believe he's the last remaining member of the awareness.
What makes you different makes you stronger. They can't stop you.
You went into my mind?
I want to know who I am.
We're a product, Ian.
There's more like you.
A mule is a myth.
I don't believe a fucking word you're saying.
Awareness is the movie right there. Ian, who is a teenager with the power of casting illusions on other people's minds, is caught in the middle of a conflict between two groups because of having exposed his powers, having to choose a side in the coming war. That's about it for this one. I will not spoil it for you any further. So if you are someone that loves what we call science fiction and then action thriller films, this is the movie right here that you are going to be catching up on. Well, that is it for the movie recommendations this morning. In case you're deciding to either stay in or go to the cinema, you might want to go there. And, well, it's all entertainment, really. I mean, the weekend is here. The most you can do for yourself to calm down, to take off the week's stress is making sure that you do something non-work related, please. Well, that is it for the movie recommendations. And coming up is the sports, and that is going to be with Ruben Chirirango Pima. So please do stick around.
This weekend on UBC.
We have a challenge that many women get to a point that they are using social media. They are married, but they will use social media for attention, to attract followers. Imagine you are married, but the way you portray yourself on social media, it's like, I'm available.
That's the danger. That's very dangerous.
Go ahead and publicize your marriage. And I am not ashamed of saying, Robbie, you're the one and only. And I'm going to tell you something. There'll never be another. Let nobody ever tell you. And you know, by the way, nobody going to tell you nothing, because you will always be the one and only until the rapture. Hey, that's how we can use social media. We're going to publicize. I love you, Robbie. And the rest of you, go tell it to your spouse.
This weekend on UBC.
This is Chilling. Don't miss a brand new season of Chilling on UBC TV.
107.3 Kampala, 96.9 Mbale, 95.7 Jinja, 98.6 Soroti. You are all covered.
UBC Mutego. UBC Mutego.
Hello there again. Good morning and many thanks for sticking around to UBC. Good morning, Uganda, Friday edition. It is now time for the sports update this particular time of the show. And of course, on Friday, Ruben is always on the other side, giving us reviews, or let's say analyzing for us what is likely to be happening in the world of sports, as the weekend is already ahead of us as we speak now. But of course, as we are getting into there's a lot of action that is going to happen. If you're looking into the Ugandan perspective tonight at 7 p.m., there's a big game in Lugogo. KCCA will be hosting Vipers. So this is one of those big games that we are likely to be looking at here. But besides that, let me first bring in to Ruben as we get to understand what is making headlines in the world of sports. Good morning, Ruben.
Good morning. How are you, Sam?
I'm okay.
Good to see you.
Good to have you here this particular time. And a pleasure hosting you for a Friday edition of GMU. It's another weekend. We have some action coming through. We had some NBA games, and we also have others coming up. But first, to the viewers out there, what would you take for this entire week?
First, the big one in Lugogo, you shouldn't miss that. You shouldn't as well miss that because Vipers KCCA is a big one, if you ask me. Gone are the days when we would actually look out for Express, KCCA or Villa Express. Yes. Today it's about Vipers KCCA. Based on the current form, it's a no match for Vipers. I mean, KCCA has not been in good shape. Of course, their tactician left a couple of months ago or weeks ago, and that meant that they are a bit disorganized. They lost their best player, Alan Okello, to Vipers, who is a doubt for today's game. I'm told he has he's carrying a knock, so he might not be able to feature in today's game. But either way, I don't see KCCA edging this because based on the current form, I think the Vipers or the Venoms are in great shape, are in better shape in terms of players, in terms of organization, in terms of anything that you can put on table to make a team win. I do not think KCCA are going to win this game. But yesterday I was talking to one of the Express fans, that is Lian Nasozi, who is so livid. She did say that today is Express, tomorrow is something else. But I want also to answer Nassos here, that the referees that were beaten by the Express fans have families. Yes. So you might love the club, yes. We all love football, we all love clubs. But sometimes you become human. Yes, but FIFA comes out to put up a committee that investigates the whole incident that happened in Wankukuku. And then you come out to say that because the punishment is you are demoted to big league. Even if you are as big as Express, you go back to big league. So her perception is but they should be considerate, the club, the players, they don't fight what. Yes. But we've seen clubs internationally, we've seen the racial abuses to players, and the clubs are fined, not the fans. It's a club that is fined. Club that is fined. Yes, so in a scenario where the referee is beaten up and his assistant, and you want a FIFA to wake up and say, okay, Express, you're a big club, you excused. Let's deal with the fans. Let's deal with the fans. If the club is still in place. It can't happen. So I want to tell my sister Lilian Nasozi that you can love for the club. You can be in love with Express FC, but condemn indiscipline, condemn fights on the pitch, condemn harassing of match officials. I mean, we've seen VARs in England, but rule against big clubs. I haven't seen fans coming out to beat referees. Yes, I haven't seen that. Last night we had Jurgen Klopp that come out to apologize. Yes, last night we had Liverpool playing against Toulouse in France. The third goal that was equalizer was disallowed because of VAR. I did not see Jurgen Klopp or the Liverpool fans storm the pitch, storm the pitch and fighting. So we need to run away from the hooliganism and respect the fact that it's a modern game. We do not have to fight. All right. And Ruben, speaking of that game, before we go into the NBA games, Jurgen Klopp was angered by the chaotic performance, according to what is coming in from there. And it was quite an unfortunate VAR, officiating maybe, but you could easily see that the Argentine player did handle the ball in the process to the build-up of that same goal. So he takes us back to Mikel Arteta while he was ranting over last week when Arsenal also lost to Newcastle. The same two coaches have actually been ranting over VAR this season. No, but for me it's very simple and it's very, very clear, Sonko. If you want to win comfortably, let Idamin ask the boxers that we know there's racism in boxing. Just go and give him a KO draw, a knockout. So that we see if the umpire will come out and say you've not won. So if you were Liverpool or Arsenal against a Newcastle or against a true team from France, just go and get the goals, get the 6 goals in, then
so that they cancel the
other one. So this kind of being a crybaby, Klopp and others should just know that in football there's always a loss. Arteta, the ball that never crossed the line to me, because when you watch
of the different angles.
Yeah, no, even the angles. You have seen players take corners. They take them in front of the D, that arc. Do they say something within the arc? No. Now, how come when the ball is actually just a centimeter off the main line and says it's out of the field? For me, it's just being a crybaby. But anyway, back into basketball. We had games played, of course, this morning in the NBA. I don't know whether you love NBA, Sonko, or
I think I'm not so much into basketball as a sports fan.
Okay, because you are a short man, or you just don't know the game.
But I'm not that short anyway.
Okay, we had the Pacers beating the Bucks. That was 126, 124. Then, of course, we had the Magic losing to the Hawks by just a point. You know, in basketball, you can lose a game in just a second. You slip up, you concede 2 points, you're done. So in the game this morning, when I was watching Orlando Magic and the Bucks, I thought, and the Hawks, the Magic had actually done better until the Hawks stepped up and got the 2 points to win the game, or to take the win home. But of course, tomorrow morning we'll have a couple of games that will be played as you sleep. Because I was almost going to say that as we come into studio tomorrow, I don't know.
Early in the morning, Saturday morning, I'll be in bed at that time.
You'll be in bed. The only difference here is you know. Okay, away from the jokes, the Pistons will take on the 76ers. That will be at 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. Then the Wizards will play against the Hornets. That game will be also will be at 3 a.m. as well, and I know many of you would love to know where the game will be. It will be at the Capital One Arena. That's at 3 a.m. Then the Celtics will take on the Nets. Good one to catch at the TD Garden. You can, I know Baguma Innocent loves watching the Celtics. Then the Nets will take on the Pelicans at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning at the Toyota Center. Then we shall also have the Grizzlies taking on the Jazz. That will be at 4 a.m. as well. And that game will be at the FedEx Forum. Then we will have the Spurs against the Wolves. The game will be at the front of Frost Bank Center. That will be at 4 as well. And then the Mavericks against the Clippers. Good game. Kawhi Leonard will be in action with the man with beards. That's James Harden. I like him. I like his beard.
Because of his beard.
But my question is, how does he take porridge with such a beard? In case he takes porridge anyway. Oba Bushera. You know, you used to call it what in school? Bush?
Bushera.
The nickname is Bush.
It depends. It depends on the school.
If I went to Paris,
you call it Bush.
The word Bush. Okay, we have the Mavericks against the Clippers. That game will be at the American Airlines Center. That will be at 4 a.m. Then the Lakers will take on the Suns. The game will be at the Footprint Center. That will be at 6 a.m. I think I'll catch this game before I go to the Gardens. And then, of course, at 6 as well, the Kings will take on the Golden. Okay, will take on the Thunder at the Golden One Center. But so before I forget, when I was coming in here, I was listening to FM 90, where they played the Milli Vanilli, I'm Gonna Miss You. You know that song?
No, I would be lying to you if I said no.
It was actually released in 1988. You were not yet born by that time. When some of us were around. Yeah, sorry to, you know, sometimes when you work with young men,
the Gen Z.
So what I think about this song is you would wake up in the morning at school. Let's assume you went to a single school, and we had Walkmans then. A few guys would have the Walkmans. So wake up at around 5 to go fresh up, to go for the morning porridge. And now the porridge, you start with the porridge. So guys play Mini Vanilla and they're like, wow, you think of Sosh, of the prom. Anyway.
During such a time. But the Sosh is actually still happening even today. Ruben, as we now talk football, there's a story that was, disheartening. The story rotating around Ruben Diaz's father, who had been abducted. That is in Colombia. And the good news is, by the end of this week, he's now out. I remember last week when Liverpool was playing Luton, he actually scored a goal, and even the Luton fans applauded him for the fact that he was performing. He still gave out his all, even when the father was being abducted back in Colombia.
Yeah, true. Yesterday, Manuel Luis Diaz, that's the father to Luis Diaz. For me, it has been happening in Colombia. They know that you have the money. They come for your children or for your family. So now they ask you for a lump sum. If you don't pay it, they retain that. The parents or your daughter or your son.
And they know he's a professional footballer.
So in this incident, they kidnapped two. That was the mother and the father. So they released the mother to show that we have the father here. So if you pay what we want,
then we let the
father. The only thing here, why I can say, the only good about the Colombian kidnappers, they don't kill. They don't kill. Now on your screen is actually the two fathers with Diaz Senior, the father to Luis Diaz.
The one in the middle.
Yeah, in the middle. It's actually the father who was released by the kidnappers, and he came back unhurt, though he was traumatized. And now, if you ask me how much they paid for that, Ruben Diaz might have forked out £500,000 for his father's safety. But good is back home. Good is back with his family. And I saw a statement from the president of Colombia, thanking all the security agencies who have been part of this success. Then also Liverpool put up a tweet or a next, I don't know what is called. They did put it up, of course, thanking the Colombia and government for working together to make sure that Manuel Luis Diaz Senior is back home safe. But of course, they will not talk about the money that was involved. And the arrests that was supposed to be taken.
And I think with the international break, Diaz will be able to go back and see his father during such a time. But now, Ruben, let's get into some of the action to expect as we are winding up, to expect this weekend in regards to the top football leagues in Europe.
Okay, of course I'll pick out the big ones. In England, we have the Chelsea-Manchester game. That will be at 7:30 on Sunday. So for me, that's the big one you can always talk about. The other games are, of course, are the same. Arsenal, Burnley, Man U, Luton. Those are sure wins for the big boys. But for me, what is at stake is Chelsea City. City must win. Chelsea they did beat Spurs in midweek. Actually on Monday Night Football on Monday by 4 goals to 1. But somebody would say it was because of the 2 red cards.
Because Chelsea did not even look like they would win.
That is true. If Spurs were playing against 11 men, or if just faced the 11 men of Spurs,
it would be very difficult.
They had no chance to win this game. And for me, from what caught my attention as ways to come on for the Pan-African show, the African in Jackson, the Ivory Coast man, had a hat-trick in the game. So as they come in to discuss Pan-Africanism, we had an African
making headlines in England.
Yeah, he did score for 3 goals. And for me, I would have scored 7 on a good day because he was so wasteful in front of goal.
After Spurs were 9,
of course. And you could see that he's somebody for the future. And then the guy, Jeremy Doku, also the black, is it the Dutch, black Dutch?
From Belgium.
From Belgium, yes. But he also did have a goal over the last weekend and 3 assists. He's a black player. Now, Pan-Africanism is also here, is at play. I think Mututa will come and talk about that when we leave.
It's lifting Africans out there.
So in the Chelsea-Manchester game, it's going to be a double of Africans. You could see so many blacks in the Manchester team, from Kylie Walker to Jeremy Doku, to players like there's so many players that share.
There's also Rico Lewis, who looks
more African than European.
Yes.
And then, of course, the Chelsea contingent of so many African players, from Casiedo, who is black, to Jackson, so many others. So it's the big one in England that will be taking place on Sunday. But of course, other games: Liverpool will take on Brentford, West Ham will take on Forest, then Villa will take on Fulham, Brighton will also take on Sheffield. But of course, other games as well. Man U will take on on Luton. Palace will take on Everton. We'll have Bournemouth against Newcastle. That will be the late game on Saturday. Tomorrow, then Wolves will take on Spurs. That is the early kickoff.
Then La Liga.
Then Arsenal will be taking on Burnley. Then La Liga, we have Madrid against Valencia tomorrow. Then Osasuna will take on Las Palmas. Getafe will take on Granada. Sociedad will also be in action against Almeria. And then tomorrow in La Liga, I will have Barcelona against Deportivo Alves. Then Sevilla will take on Betis. That's a good derby, the Sevilla derby. You can catch that game at 8:30 p.m. Then the last game will be Atletico Madrid against the Submarines. That's Villarreal. But of course, in the Serie A, I'll tell you, the big one in Italy is actually the Rome derby, Lazio against Roma. And the team that will be at home will be Lazio. So Mourinho comes back against Mauricio Sarri, the Lazio coach. So we are waiting to see who takes the day, but I believe Jose Mourinho might edge this. Though Lazio did play well in the Europa League, and I expect them to mount a challenge against Roma in the derby. Gone are the days when we could have Battigo, Totti, Domasi.
I wanted to know the pronunciation of, there's a team here that is playing Milan. I don't want to play around with such names. You know, there's also
that plays AC Milan.
Then there's also one playing Juventus.
Okay, the one of actually Milan is Lecce. Lecce against Milan. Then Juventus is Cagliari, not Cagliari, but Cagliari. The G is silent. That's if you come from Latino. That's if you come from the other side of
Cagliari. That is taking on Juventus.
Yes, but you can say Cagliari if you're an English-speaking person. You can say Cagliari.
You know, with the Spanish teams as well, it becomes very difficult to pronounce some of these names.
I know, but it's as simple as that. I mean, if you speak Latino, the G sometimes is silent. There are some letters which are changed to others. Now, if you want to speak Gabriel Jesus, you say Jesus. So if you're from Brazil, they will use Jesus or Spain. And then if you are from teams from let's say Eastern Europe, it's Jesus. It's Gabriel Jesus. So if you're Greek or other people around that area,
it's the English.
So if you're from Uganda, it's Jesus.
True.
Gabriel Jesus.
Well, the weekend is up and running.
But is Jesus back? When is Jesus coming back?
Very soon.
How soon is soon?
Very soon. And of course, we've been having. Yes, I am.
You go to these other churches. Watoto. You go there to poach, or you go
pray.
To pray?
At times, but
you know,
praying is
young
more
men
important.
go to poach at Watoto.
No, it depends. You know, I'm single for now. And, no, I'm single. So that means if at all I'm looking for a woman, I'll definitely want to poach as well. But that's Ruben Pimanchivirango with sports this morning. And we want to wish you all the best for your weekend. For those who are heading to Jinja for the festival, please remember to...
Just in a second,
yes.
If you can allow me. What is in Jinja?
There's the Nyege Festival.
Okay. What is it all about? Is it about farming? Is it about what is it about? You know, I don't know.
It's a lot about entertainment, promoting African culture, and there's also tourism. No, there's culture. There's some culture there. At the international, so you can definitely dive in there for those who are heading there, but also a lot of sports events. The name, though, it's a bit a tricky one.
I know Monica will be now.
Now you know.
The weekend. So it's better to those who want to see them.
They should be heading to Jinja. Oh well. So to all our viewers, thank you very much for watching Good Morning Uganda for this entire week till Monday when we do return. We wish you all the best for today, and we can assure you that Monday Ruben will be here to give you all of the action that will have transpired in the world of sport over the week. And me, Chantal, Monica, as well as Ruben, we shall as well as Chirabo, we will be here to give you everything social affairs as well as from the world of business. But as of now, it's a good morning, and we wish you all the best for the weekend.
This is Chilling. Don't miss a brand new season of Chilling on UBC TV.
In this family, we can't agree on anything. We can't even agree on watch. All the games to play.
Martha.
Ndoza Mulabi, we can't even agree on what to eat. At least the one thing now we can all agree on. To yours. He likes that it's big and long. Anti-economy. I like that it keeps my skin smooth. Ate Alina a chovu. And the children like that. It smells amazing. Everyone is happy. Movit soap comes in 4 fantastic flavors. Movit family soap is truly soap for the whole family.
Movit. All day confidence.
107.3 Kampala, 96.9 Mbale, 95.7 Jinja, 98.6 Soroti. You are all covered.
UBC Butebo. UBC Butebo.
This weekend on UBC.
We have a challenge that many women get to a point that they are using social media. They are married, but they will use social media for attention, to attract followers. Imagine you are married, but the way you portray yourself on social media, it's like, I'm available.
That's the danger. That's very dangerous.
Go ahead and publicize your marriage. And I am not ashamed of saying, Robbie, you're the one and only. And I'm going to tell you something. There'll never be another. Let nobody ever tell you. And you know, by the way, nobody going to tell you nothing, because you will always be the one and only until the rapture. Hey, that's how we can use social media. We're going to publicize. I love you, Robbie. And the rest of you, go tell it to your spouse.
This weekend on UBC.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
So this is my general perception. One, that project